Hey guys, what's up? Brian from PFC here to talk to you about holster fit, the 5 layers of holster fit as we call it. We see a lot of problems with this and people tend to jack this up, and I don't know if it's ignorance or laziness or what it is, but 5 different layers. So the first thing is the proper firearm for the holster that you're going to use. If you're going to be using an HK, make sure you have an HK holster, Glock and a Glock holster, and the respective model Glock in that respective Glock holster. So that's issue number 1. Next is any accessories that you may have on it that may preclude putting it into a certain holster. So if you have a given light, make sure it's the correct manufacturer of light that mounts with that, or some sort of a red dot optic or anything along those lines. But that tends to take care of itself. On that note, make certain that if you have a holster that's designed for a mounted light, that you have the light mounted when you're using that holster. Otherwise, it's going to rattle around inside there. Next is handedness. Are you a lefty or a righty? Obviously, there are very few holsters that are ambidextrous. HTC has a pretty cool one called the Element right now, and that's ambidextrous. Then there is the cant issue. Cant meaning how far forward or how far back or vertical that firearm is tipped. Me personally, I still don't really understand this other than fat dudes in the 70s sitting inside of a police car, the notion of wanting to have the firearm canted forward. If you look at your draw stroke, if the firearm is canted forward, that's a farther angle, a farther distance that has to travel. And if you even look at the impingement that puts on the wrist in the process of drawing it, it's magnets. You're putting yourself into a gooseneck. Why more people aren't fans of carrying that firearm vertical, unless they're just slaves to comfort, sitting in the car all day, I do not know. But if you make it work for you, by all means, take and go with what works for you. The final thing in the big thrust that I want to talk about here is belt loop interface and size. And this is something that we see very, very, very commonly. So in this case here, I just have a simple, just a clip, a belt line clip. This is spec'd for 1 3/4 inches. And I have just a piece of 1-inch tubular nylon webbing. And you can see here how much space there is beneath that webbing. So if we have an improperly sized belt interfacing with a belt loop or a clip or anything along those lines, and it's too small, what that's going to do is it's going to cause a ton of play fore and aft within the firearm. Also, when we begin to draw the firearm, it's going to drag the firearm up against until it cams against the bottom edge of the belt, starts causing that belt to roll, twist. Million points of failure. Firearm's not going to be where you're looking for when you go after it. So we all seem to understand that if we wear size 11 shoes, we order size 11 shoes, and we wear the correct size shoes on the correct size feet, and we wear the correct size socks, and the socks go on the inside, not on the outside of the shoes. But then people jack this up, and then they get substandard performance on the firearm. Make sure you have what fits your gun, and then what ultimately fits you. Stay safe.